never clouding my vision. I'm overcoming struggle. I clown around, but these problems too much to juggle. I'm steady building while they're waiting for me to crumble. Man, I swear to God, they make it hard for me to keep it humble. I lost one of my brothers earlier this year. It's just a constant reminder that life ain't really fair. It's just a matter of time before we all make it there. So till we meet again, watch over me, I'm a record here. These niggas wildin', they sweating, stressing, and pressing here. While I'm just rhyming,
All right, and we're back for Game 7 of Week 4 for the LJL. Coming up next, we have DFM taking on CGA. As this will be a fairly important one in terms of how we break up the upper end of the standings going throughout the rest of this week. This is like the halfway point. This is where the matches really start to add up. So for CGA, they're going to need this game if they want to hold up in the upper end of bracket and not risk slipping down. Meanwhile, DFM, who have had a rocky start to the split, last week they did look like they were cleaning things up. I will say that I think DFM last week looked way better than they had in the 2 weeks prior. The online environment not exactly suiting them very well, but coming into this one, they look confident, they look ready, and I'm hoping that it's going to carry into this week as well if they're going to keep their playoff chances alive here. Well, not that they're at risk of falling out of playoffs. They're fairly secured to be in playoffs, but you begin to worry for Sengoku as they're the multi-split champions. They're the ones that have to be defending the title, but as it stands right now, you're not battling for first. This is a battle for second or potentially third. And at absolutely worst, potentially fourth, depending on how they end up matching against CGA here. Would not be a good look to be falling down at this point in the tournament, or in the split, but that being said, we'll see how things shake out from here. Versus CGA, things look hopeful for the side of DFM, as last game CGA definitely had just some questionable decisions in draft, possibly a little bit overzealous in what they could pick, thinking they could just walk over Burning Core, and kind of got checked, and hopefully was a bit of a wake-up call for them to that if they want to stay at this position in the tournament, they're going to need to play like they want it. And so, all of that being said, we're hopeful that CGA are going to be cleaning things up, while Detonation Focus Me are going to be coming in fresh and hopefully ready to play. Now I will say, one of the I'm curious to see how DFM walk into this one, as they owe a team like CGA a decent amount of respect, given how well they've done in this split already. That being said, it's not unlike DFM to try and go for their usual style of just trying to get lane advantages and carry that through. The thing that has just kind of been worrying me, that we did talk about a bit more last week, but it felt like in the weeks prior, if DFM were not getting hard advantages in lanes, if they were really struggling throughout the later ends of the games, a lot of their team fights ended up really disconnected, and they were not looking to form as they usually would. Week 3 was a bit better for them, as they did sort of start to clean things up a bit. But it still leaves me partially worried for DFM, as if there's any internal problems that are kind of like coming about for them that's kind of raising these issues. I hope that that's something that they can get settled before playoffs, or potentially before it starts costing them playoff positions. As if you're talking about them overall, DFM, they played well into all of the other teams, but they during the playoffs last year, but they did lose to Sengoku. And if you're battling your way up in the bracket from the bottom, that's a lot of other risks you have for things to go wrong and to be potentially knocked out, especially when V3 and Sengoku both have wins over you so far in the summer split. We'll get right into picks and bans here. Karma being the first one up on the ban table. DFM opting for the Callista ban early on here. Typically either the Varus or another ADC, usually showing up on that R1 ban, so not a unsurprising ban, but will protect DFM a little bit throughout the early game, and CGA banning away the Twisted Fate, as Varus will meet the ban table in this game. And ultimately, I do kind of understand why TF is accruing more bans. He is in a pretty decent position. There are a lot of comps that can utilize TF very well. That was actually a way DFM did pull out one of their week 3 wins by having a very catch heavy comp and utilizing TF across the map. Well, Aphelios meets the ban table as well. DFM, one last ban to throw. A couple options of places it can go, as Syndra is going to be the last one banned away here. So for the side of CGA, you can draft up things like the set if you want that kind of flex potential option, or Ashe continuing her reign of priority, now being pushed up to the B1 draft spot. Ashe definitely showing her increasing popularity here, as DFM looking at drafting up a set here. It gives them a decent flex option, as well as just being an overall very solid champion in multiple lanes. But the hot swap over to Renekton, before I can get anything out, the blind Renekton is a little bit risky. But Evi possibly saying that he wants this one for sure. Set is still an option, still 2 flex positions. Has also seen some sets in the mid lane as well, so that option is open. But the blind pick Renekton is a little bit of a risky one. There are a couple champions that can play well into Renekton. We'll see what CGA decide to draft up here. Trundle, not a bad option for this one if you are looking for that slow kind of catch and run down comp. See what we lock in beside it, and it is going to be the Ornn brought in. Has to weather a bit of that early laning phase, which can be somewhat difficult, but is not a bad option by any means. We'll see what DFM throw up as their last pick here. Need to somewhat be concerned about not locking an ADC here. Locking an ADC would be, yeah, I was going to say, need to be looking at things like Ezreal or other AD carries, as can't risk that being pinched away. There's not many ADs left in the popular pool, so they will be locking that one in. for Utapon in the bot lane, and now both mid laners going unpicked, but only one of the bans being a mid lane ban so far. Would expect to see both Seros and Arya kind of digging deep in their champion pools. The number of mid lane bans are going to be coming through. Also, would not be surprised to see things like a Thresh banned away, or possibly a Braum as well, if DFM wants to deny that one from CGA.
の集団戦に強いチャンピオンというのが CGA の中では足りていない要素になってくるので、後半考えるのではアジールは CGA 欲しいですよね。
LeBlanc also going to get banned away here. Now on the side of DFM, I do worry slightly overall at the amount of damage that they have, but there's still a decent amount of options that they can draft themselves into that would posture for more of a carry position. Azir still online, Corki still available, which would add a little bit of poke alongside the Ezreal. So a couple of options still on the table, but drafting up a Bard is also one of them. Hold on to that mid lane pick a little while longer. And we'll see what CGA has to respond with. Would not be surprised if we saw a Thresh coming in or something to that effect. A lot of the popular supports still available, but Echo is actually going to be locked in here, blinding the Echo into the mid lane. And the blind pick on the Echo is a little bit of an interesting one, as there aren't a whole lot of easy targets that are defined right now on the side of DFM, as Thresh is going to come across. But possibly a call from Arya to try and see what he can force DFM onto. Heimerdinger would not be the best with the Renekton, but would add a lot of defensive options to deal with the Echo, as well as potentially use those turrets to keep your team from being run down here. It will be Zeros on the Heimerdinger, a champion that is oftentimes banned away from him, but we'll be seeing it today. ミッドで主導権を取った上でジャングラーが特にトップサイドに介入していくっていうゲームプランにしてきましたね DFM。 As far as the comps are concerned, it's fairly even on both sides. DFM once again kind of struggling from an issue that we see in their drafts a lot, and is one of the things that I've been really critical of DFM overall is Renekton, Heimer, and Ezreal all kind of play different games, really. Although CGA are kind of a little bit in the same boat, as Echo doesn't exactly play well with many of his carries, but he does have the ultimate to try and port back to avoid too much risk. We'll see how things end up shaking out here, and if CGA are able to utilize some of their team fight opportunities well enough, they might be able to get something going. Although DFM with the Set and Heimer can kind of play a little bit more of a defensive game. You can use the Bard ultimate to zone, and DFM put themselves in a very defensible position. That being said, positioning is going to be one of the most important factors for them in this game. Being the first two objectives like Drakes or Heralds, and setting up your Heimerdinger turrets, setting up your zone of control, is going to be the name of the game on DFM's side.
LJL 2020サマースプリットウィーク3ゲーム7、デトネーションフォーカスミー vs クレストゲーミングアクトの試合スタートです。さあそれではコーチインタビューから見ていきましょう。
And as we start things along here, interesting note is Gang going for the phase rush in this lane will help kind of... It definitely helps in the department of removing the slow effects that come out from Gango. Helps him get in for short trades and then get back out before Ash is able to find a ton of value. But the slows are plentiful on the side of CGA. I think definitely a lane of focus for DFM early on is going to be this top lane. If you can get Renekton going onto an Ornn early on, it's very hard for Renekton to stand up once, or excuse me, it can be hard for Renekton to stand up in this lane just due to how much of everything Ornn does in terms of damage and just being far too tanky. That being said, if Renekton is able to push towards the Bork components early on enough, get that cleaver to help armor shred, setting Nap behind and keeping him from being a threat in these team fights, it's going to be a huge help for them. Although this is a game you would expect to be going on the later end of things, as Grendel's going to find a hook, but nothing that can be capitalized off of just yet. As Evi's going to get the level 2 off that one, try to dash in for a little extended trade there on the Nap. While Unica is full clearing away from that side of the map. Looks like Steel might be heading up here. He has Flash available. Would be a risky early dive, but Nap is already going rather low. It looks like that might be the case as Steel's looking around here. The wave is coming in and it's fairly large. Here comes Steel. The teleport forced out from Ari immediately, but the stun from Saros is going to stop that one. Looks like they're going to reconvene the dive there. The stun is good. Chained with an Evi slice and dice. That's exactly what you want to see for first blood in the top side. Meanwhile, Saros forced to flash away. He might be going down here, but Arya did not get the third hit off. So he will be going down here, and Nap just teleported right back into the wave. Steel might just be making the call to repeat the dive. Evi might be able to finish this one off. He just has to wait for a couple abilities. Can auto the wave for a little extra fury, as he might just be waiting about the 10 seconds it takes before the next slice and dice in. An unfortunate situation. CGA not quite able to finish that gank in the mid lane, and now Nap in a little bit of a deadly position on the top side there. Evi has teleport as well, as Steel just being able to take what he please on that blue side of CGA. He'll be able to get those respawn camps away from Unica, and they might just be able to repeat the dive onto Nap now with no flash on them and no summoners burned on the side of DFM. Evi only now just teleporting back to the lane. So as I said, if you want to get this Ornn ahead early, this is the way to do it. Steel coming in once more. We'll be able to kite out that one with the Haymaker to help just brush off the damage coming out from the turret shot there, as Evi is just going to clear this wave. That's going to be a lot of minions missed from Nap in the top side, as Evi tried to get a turret plate as well. Not quite going to be able to finish that one off with Unica hanging out there. Although now he might have just done himself in. He does have stun and decent amount of damage, but Unica's make the call to flash onto him. Face rush to help him run him down. Unica gonna burn his own flash, just trying to harass Unica. Evi, suppose it is flash for flash overall, but definitely was an interesting position, as Grendel's gonna find a good hook onto Unipon. Right now, it just feels like DFM walking where they shouldn't, but here comes the cavalry, a good stun onto Gango, but as it stands right now, Unipon's a little bit too far away to do a lot of damage. Gango's gonna be forced to flash and heal, but will just get run down in the end. Steel gonna be picking that one up. And a little bit risky. Unipon did unfortunately have to burn his flash after eating the hook from Grendel. But as it stands right now, everything seems to be coming up DFM, as they have just been able to, by the skin of their teeth, avoid death in the mid and bot lane. While meanwhile on the top side, Evi intending to make Nap feel exactly the strength of Renekton early on.
スティール選手のルートですよね。
あと今赤バフを買ったタイミングの速さをよく見てほしかったですね。相当スティール速かったですよ。
としては本当にこの序盤どれだけ眼光を決められるのかというのが。
Evi just gonna be running at Unica here. He kind of has free reign to run at whoever he pleases, but Gang gonna be running up there, giving a friendly serving of hot cocoa over to his mid laner. That has to be one of my favorite skins in the game, but one Bard, Snow Day Bard is just such a pleasant skin. You get to leave hot cocoa for everyone. And who doesn't love a good cup of hot cocoa? As Arya grabs up the blue buff there on that side, Steel in a great position as Grendel's gonna walk up for a face check, but that's a free 30 gold over and a 75 gold loss for Grendel. Well, Steel is just going to start up the Drake here. It's a little bit risky, but Sero's taking positioning there to set up a bit of vision. I think he did end up spotting Unica on his way in, so has that opportunity, but the bot lane's rotating up here. They're going to have Unica soon behind them. The Dragon's at about 1,000 HP already, so Steel should be able to secure this one relatively free. So he just will have to flash out of the pit on that one. The stun will come in. He did get the stun onto Steros, but threw the Q in the wrong direction, so not going to be able to get much damage off for it, as DFM will sneak away with a Mountain Drake in their back pockets. Rift Herald is back up and live, and both junglers going to be clearing back towards that side of the map, looking for an opportunity onto it, but unfortunately for Unica and the side of CGA, all of the pressure is in Evi's favor right now in the top lane. Being 2-0 in the lane already, and no armor to speak of on Nap. Not exactly a fight he can take so willingly. Evi gets some deep vision down. It looks like the call for the Rift Herald will be made, and the bot lane's rotating up, so CGA are gonna have 5 on it. Evi just waiting for his next slice and dice to get over the wall. The rest of DFM are rotating in here. Udapon has teleport, but not really a great opportunity. A hook onto Evi is going to be a great way to start things off, as he's just going to get blown up before Udapon's teleport can even come through. And that's going to be DFM just contest. If CGA are going to opt into contesting or throwing that much at one Rift Herald, you really can't have a Renekton with 3 longswords being the one that is face checking there. If you're going to be going towards the Bork sort of side of things, you're not nearly tanky enough to end up face checking like that and just eating Grendel's hook at point blank. And it's going to be shut down back over to the side of CGA. And with Rift Herald to boot, a little extra gold that they can cash in on a little bit later. It'll be a bit of a lull state likely before that one is used, although there aren't exactly the best targets for it to be used, as bot lane would really be the one of choice, as Gango can put a few W's out onto the wave to try and get some pushing power in, but Unica, looking for an opportunity on a Udapon, should just have Arcane Shift to get over the wall, so don't imagine it's a pressing concern for him at the moment, but a good death sentence. He might be able to Nah, I was gonna say, not quite flaying him over the wall. But we'll give them enough pressure to spawn up the Rift Herald here as 4 members from DFM are rotating down. Gonna be running down the river. Will zone away anyone else from getting the gold. It's gonna go all the way to Unica. As they're trying to pressure down here, but Steel looks like he's taking that opportunity to go on to Arya if he gets the chance. This is a little bit of a hard ask because the stun's going to miss, but the dunk is good. Will he be able to pull Arya around long enough? He still has ultimate, but... That one feels a little bit wishful for the side of CGA as teleports are coming in. That's going to be Nap and Evi both teleporting in, or excuse me, that was Seros' teleport that was channeled there. Not entirely sure what Nap was going to be looking for, but the response teleport coming out from Seros immediately deterring that one. Before things get too far along. This Evi's just going to shove in the lane on the top side. It is a caddy wave, so Nap will miss out on the caddy minion, but should be able to get back up there for the rest of it. While Unica's wandering up here, did not see Steel on his way in as the teleport's coming out. This time it's going to be Arya teleporting in. The Dominus is popped as Evi's looking for an escape route. And with Steel waiting in the wings, that will be enough pressure to deter that play. And right now it feels like the game of teleport false starts as a lot of plays look like they're going to be starting up, but teleport one way or a teammate showing up another kind of keep the game a little bit neutral for now. But the Baron is going to be, or excuse me, the Dragon is going to be the next opportunity available, and with either Cloud or Infernal Soul on the menu, being that much closer to a potential soul is going to be something on both teams' minds, but it's DFM who are going to be first up on the Drake. Unica's taking his time clearing the Wolf camp, so I don't think he'll be able to get over in time. He's actually going to take it back, as DFM will just be able to take this one for free. Clean smite away from the side of DFM. Ocean Soul is going to be hitting the Rift, and DFM 50% of the way there already. Would be a great way to help their comp along, and don't think they're going to be able to pull this dive off here. Full health Unica off of Respawn's going to deter that play from going anywhere, as Arya's going to start rotating down here as well. We'll just take up his opportunity on the shield, and Steel gonna get dodged out there by the E-dash onto Arya. Well, for now, we'll just kind of continue enjoying a little bit while longer of a lull state. This is definitely one of those games that you would expect to go rather late, as neither team is explicitly strong early on. And while CGA will eventually get to the point where they're able to brawl a little bit better and they're able to chase down, they don't exactly have all of the strength to do it. And then on the side of, on DFM's side of things, they don't have great engage tools or very reliable engage tools, and their comp postures itself more defensively with the Heimerdinger pickup. So DFM kind of, it's harder for DFM to make a play happen than it is for CGA with an Ornn. But CGA also being content to let things go, let things be farmed out for a while. We'd expect this game to be going towards the later end of things as DFM are wandering up here. Udapon once again has teleport this time, but it's going to be Arya starting things off. He's going to get the W shield there, a huge chunk out onto Steel. The Crystal Arrow will find its mark as Nap's going to go in for it, but forced to flash away as the rest of his team is not quite there, but the Death Sentence onto the Heimerdinger. Seros going very low. The Ignite should burn him down. While the rest of CGA are looking for more before they look back at the Rift Herald. Another death sentence by Grendel. So he's looking for more and more opportunities. Gengo's going to be forced to flash away as Steel goes in, but he's way too far from his team. Flashes forward from Arya. Does not get the third hit. That would have popped Gang there. But CGA finding themselves a 2-kill fight win. And can now return their attention to the Rift Herald. Grendel coming up huge with a couple of those hooks. Fishing from the river and finding a couple members of DFM. It's a way that they can secure that Rift Herald. And this is sort of the issue that DFM's comp really faces with the way this kind of goes, is Nap obviously makes the call to go too far ahead there and it has to flash back. So the death sentence is found and Saros goes down. This is where CGA could look to get more aggressive, but watch Steel here after he uses the ultimate. There is just zero amount of follow-up that can really happen when Steel goes deep like this. Unipon and Evi can come over the wall, but they never had any amount of time to do damage, and then you end up burning your support's flash as he's just trying to get to safety. Sort of what happens when your carries are not exactly well equipped to follow up, with Steel being the re-engage tool there.
ボットプッシュからのミッドグループ、そこでアッシュのアローと絡めてヘラルドを使用していきたいですね。さあ、ただ続いてはドラゴン35秒後、オーシャン、そして
But while we enjoy a little while longer of lull state before this next Ocean Drake is up, CGA should have full priority for it. And given the position DFM is in, I wouldn't be surprised to see them give this one over. We'll see how things go. CGA looks like they want to take their opportunity to try and get onto this tower right away. A great combo onto Unipon, but not going to be able to finish that one out. A healthy chunk, but Tempered Fate has landed. It's going to be Arya getting dunked backwards. He'll be going down here on the back end of things. Will CGA be able to answer? Not quite, as Evi's going to slip away. But that's two members of DFM very low as they spawn the Rift Herald up. They're going to use that to knock down the turret, which is a little bit interesting why they didn't just spawn up the Rift Herald right away. To try and just charge down this turret. They will be able to cash in on that gold and then move their way over to the Ocean Drake. But CGA had the Rift Herald that whole time. I'm not entirely sure why they didn't just start with that, as they do end up trading the turret up on the top side. Saros grabbing that one. And that will be the first Drake for CGA, an Ocean Drake for themselves. Not going to go amiss, as a lot of these fights will kind of help with negating some of the damage that Ezreal throws out while they're looking for a fight. So stacking up a couple of those definitely wouldn't hurt for the side of CGA, as both teams continue their quest for Soul, which will be really what all this entire game is going to be about. Can't expect a lot of in the middle plays unless CGA kind of grades out for turret again like they did. But Slow and Steady does win the race, and both teams seem set on that idea. The place of action, though, on the map will definitely be Evi trying to do what he can against Nap wherever he's chasing him down. He has a decent amount of pressure. The only issue is how much time he has alone with Nap on the other end, and Nap is starting to reach more of his armor items, so his window of opportunity to be aggressive is slowly shortening as the aggression is going to be turned. A good dodge out on the Call of the Forge God there, but kind of leaves him with nowhere to run as CGA may have just found themselves a free kill. Going to be going over to Nap there as Arya was forced to teleport back with the ultimate, but DFM are going to turn their attention over to the Baron. They don't exactly have the fastest Baron take in the world, so CGA should be here close enough to answer. This is going to be Nap teleporting right in the face of everyone. Here comes the Crystal Arrow, landed up onto Steel. He'll be going down before anything else can happen, and DFM, in their desperate measures, may have just handed the Baron over to CGA. CGA now have a 3k Baron, or 3k HP Baron. They're just waiting on Unica to have Smite back up, and the Tempered Fate will buy enough time for that. Grendel doing his best to zone, but they can just burn down the Baron. CGA can grab this and go. They don't need to stick around any longer as Evi comes in. He'll be looking for an opportunity, but after throwing down the Bork, there isn't much that he can do, losing out on a little bit of that move speed there. DFM with a bit of a throw around this Baron. Unica's going to be the one capitalizing off of that, and now things go a little bit from bad to worse. Fortunately for DFM is you still do have a Heimerdinger, so you can posture defensively. You do have a defensive tool, but it doesn't feel good to lose the pick on the other end of the map and then lose Baron, which you were trying to trade for, as well as Steel losing his life. Gengo's been having an amazing amount of just long-range snipes with the Crystal Arrow. He pops it there, and Steel just had no time to even use his W to try and heal or get the shield up for a lot of that damage. And as we're looking back at the live here, rest of CGA just kind of enjoying their time with Baron. And this is definitely time where they could look to kind of drive home the gold advantage. 3k is considerable. But the further they open up this map, the more room they buy for these Ocean Drakes will definitely start to help them out. As CGA wandering up here. Here comes the Call of the Forge God. Landed with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. That's a lot of damage over to Unipon as he's going to be forced out of the fight. Arya going to be doing the same after he pops ultimate. Tempered Fate going to land onto Gengo, but his team is here to protect him. Flashing away from the Death Sentence there. Gang is going to avoid on that one. CGA now just going to back up towards the Ocean Drake. A number of summoners down on the side of DFM. He did get 2 flashes away for that one. Did cost Arya his flash, but not a terrible deal, as it's a little bit harder to punish Arya after, or punish Echo after he uses the ultimate there. Still with 20 seconds of Baron left. Don't think any other turrets are going to be going down, but looks like CGA are posturing around this bottom turret here. They might be able to sneak one more away before the Baron falls, as Steel's doing his best to frontline there. Sero's just alone in the side lanes for now, doing his best Rise impression as he just kind of absorbs lanes and CS in the side lanes, but not pressuring away the turret. He's scouring away a couple jungle camps here as CGA secure themselves the turret. Seros likely won't be able to trade this one back, but will be able to make CGA miss a little bit of a wave for that one. And this is sort of what I constantly talk about when I watch DFM, and this split especially is just kind of not instilled the highest amount of confidence in DFM for me, where their drafts are just rife with discommunication of what their team wants to do. But of all characters that you're going to be putting off in a side lane, and allowing time to solo push. Why is it going to be Seros? Sure, you can start getting him ahead, but when you're playing on the back foot, it definitely feels like you would want your defensive carry there. So, benefit, of course, to Seros is that he does get his Rabadons off of that. But costing them 2 turrets might not have been the best trade up in value.
素晴らしいですね、本当に。
で、アリア DPS チャンピオンではないのでダメージを出すのが難しいはずなんですが、
Well, the rest of DFM now are going to take their turn to try and siege down the mid lane. Gango giving it its due respect as he's trying to back up, but he did not actually see the set coming in there, flashing in with the ultimate. It did actually move him out of the way of the Bard ulti. As good assist from Grendel to kind of peel him away there as Arya finds Udapon on the other end of the map. It's split both ways, but the Renekton ends up falling away there. Grendel coming in clutch for his AD carry there. And DFM, unfortunately, looked for an opportunity. It looked okay that you could go all in onto Gango there, but again, a miscommunication. Bard throws the ultimate as soon as Steel pops his, and they end up only getting the value of one of the two. Not the ideal scenario that you're looking for, but CGA have opportunity here. Just get a bit of pressure around this Baron objective, reset some vision. So yeah, this was just sort of unfortunate that Gango did not actually see Steel there. But the whiffs of the ultimate, and then Gango has the stopwatch just to buy enough time. And here comes Grendel to save the day, landing the hook, pulling Gango to safety, and then flaying Evi backwards. Beautiful stuff to him, while Arya finds Ezreal on the other end of things. And with Arya already cresting into his third item, it really makes you ask, what's the benefit of sending Seros off into these side lanes so that he can be picking up a ton of solo gold? Because you're still an item behind Arya in this game, and that's not even going to count the ornament upgrades coming in here. As it looks like CGA are just going to start up the Baron, which really they have full liberty to do. Evi's on the other end of the map and does not have a great teleport in. And CGA going to be pulling this one down to about half HP. Unica going to walk up to clear out that pink ward. As DFM are struggling to find a way in. Once again, no engage tool other than just having Steel walk forward. But here comes Evi with the ultimate, or with teleport up. Call the Forge God's going to come through, find 2 as Steel's just going to get dragged into CGA's lines. That's going to be him going down as Arya's going to go low, but has ultimate to pop back out over there. Now Evi, full HP, is looking for whatever he can. He's gonna find Grendel here, a good flay away. His flash over the wall, dodges out on the Mystic Shot from Udapon. And DFM will deter the Baron for now. At the cost of their jungler, however. With Ocean Drake up, Trundle should really be walking over here immediately because DFM are turning their attention right over to the Ocean Drake. They're going to try and burn it down, but it looks like CGA are ready to make that trade. They're moving back over to the Baron now. Ocean Drake will go down, but CGA reconvening on the Baron. They're ready for a repeat performance, fresh off of backs for at least most of the carries, and Arya's ultimate all the way back up now. So he's gonna get a huge chunk out from Seros, who had time to set up his turrets this time around. You can see the difference it makes as Steel's gonna come in, go for the dunk, find a couple members with that E, but gonna be going down so shortly after. Flash Smite from Unica's gonna be able to secure that Baron, and once again, DFM going to be losing the Baron over to the side of CGA. Crystal Arrow flies in, gonna find his way onto Gang. That's a long time spent stun as Ares gonna come in with another one. Evi's going to trade his place in the W stun from Echo, and that's gonna be A lot of pressure now over to CGA. That's a super staggered death timer. This could be the end as CGA have opportunity to push in here. They do still have to worry about Seros, though. That's still a lot of damage coming out from those turrets. He does have Rabadons already, and not a lot of magic resist on the side of CGA yet. But they're gonna make the call. They want to try to end the game here. Faria is able to find a stun, not quite, but going all in onto Seros is a great way to look for things, as the Call of the Forge God will rip through him and the backline of things. Steel doing what he can, but he's just not tanky enough. And CGA going to make the call to back off here. The cannon minions should be able to just shoot down the turret. Teleport's coming back in. CGA rethinking if they want to end this one. They have opportunity as Arya can really just freely engage and re-engage on the members of DFM. Going in onto Yutapon there, almost blowing him up, but there's not a whole lot DFM can do. CGA find their win over DFM, and this is... Things are looking good for for CGA this series, or for this split, as DFM are just continuing to have struggles, finding wins. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick break before we go into our next game. Gonna be getting a little bit more water. My throat is starting to feel it, but we'll be back for one last game. It's going to be DFM versus Sengoku, which is going to be one of the higher stakes matches, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back for that one shortly.
もう CGA というチーム取ると決めたらとことん奪い合いに行くんですよね。これがやはり強さではありますよね。あのまま何もできずに時間が経っていればもう間違いなく DFM の時間帯になっていたと思いますよ。そうですよね。いやー、クレストゲーム今日のゲームは見ているとちょっとそのドラフトであったり中盤の仕掛けどうなのかなと思いましたが。そうですね、今回のゲームでもやはりヘラルドの使い方2回というところは今後の課題でもあるのかなと思う反面、それ以上の攻撃性というのが上回ったゲームでしたよね。さあそれでは最後のリプレイ見ていきましょう。まずはバロンからですね。ここ本来であればバロン借り切る判断ではなく相手ももうセットアップできているというのが分かっているのでガンゴ選手のエンゲージから行きたかったのかなという場面ではあるんですが、まずスティール選手の飛び込みが素晴らしかったと。あとこれセロス選手バロンスティールしそうだったんですよね。本当にそうですよね。あ、フラッシュインスマイトだったんですね。あと400なので本当に1秒遅ければというようなシーンでしたね。いや、よくユニカ決断しましたね。アローの精度も素晴らしい。あとはここで人数差を作ってから終わらせに行くという判断、結構リスキーにも見えるんですがミスなくやり遂げましたね。なんでしょう、こんなにエンゲージが強いチームだったでしょうか CGA。 やはり大きいのはグレンディル選手の本当にエンゲージ判断がどんどん成長しているっていう部分と、ナップ選手のオンが覚醒してますね。完全に開けちゃダメですね。これは結構ダメかもしれないですね。これこのまま終わらせに行く判断ですよ。